to talk about spiritual awakenings. What is it? How do you know you've had a spiritual awakening? Because this is something that really confused me for a long time. I didn't understand it. I thought a spiritual awakening was like a big white cloud and like a thunderstorm and like I see God or the universe or something incredible is going to happen. But a spiritual awakening can be as simple as having hope, getting advice from a friend, having an opportunity present itself that there would just be no way that happened. Coincidences happening. And I'm telling you, I don't believe there's coincidences. That is the universe, God, spiritual awakening, waking you up saying, here I am. When you do the right thing, I work for your good. And the right thing happens. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story just so you can understand how I had my spiritual awakening. Now, when I was 16, I was put on prescription meds because I lost my 8-year-old brother in a car accident. He died right next to me. Now, this was really hard and really challenging, so the pills became my crutch and later turned into an IV heroin addiction. It took a lot of time, obviously. I didn't just go right into the needle. But like anything in life, it's progressive. Things happen over time. Habits form us and they turn into something greater because this doesn't work anymore. So what's that? I need that. And now that's not working. So I need to up that again. So that's basically what happened. I wasn't doing the work on myself. I had given up hope in a higher power. I had given up hope in society and people. I was constantly being judged and put down. I was bullied a lot in school. I felt so alone. My first addiction was self-harm. I was a cutter. I was anorexic. My lowest weight was 80 pounds. I mean, guys, my addictions were eating me up inside. So drugs was just easier because I could put on a front and a mask like everything was okay. And whether it's drugs, shopping, sex, food, gambling, money, working out, those can all be addictions. Just because it's labeled healthy doesn't mean you're not doing it addictively. And in my recovery, I had to check myself because my work and financial earnings was starting to become an addiction of mine. And this was keeping me from being with family, making good memories. So I'm always constantly keeping myself in check of my addictions. So I had lost all hope, and here I am, years and years and years later, IV heroin user. I tried to go to rehab a few times. It didn't work. I'd get bullied from people in rehab. Sober living was a nightmare. I was just really losing hope in everything. And the only thing that would comfort me was the drugs. So I'm like, there clearly isn't a God. There's no higher existence because if there was, this shit wouldn't keep happening to me, right? It wouldn't keep happening. But I didn't own my side of the street, right? I didn't surrender to living a different life. I was sitting here, oh my God, I'm a good person, God. Why do you keep throwing this trauma at me and this horrible situation? Why do you keep doing this to me, God? I'm a good person. But was I? Was I a good person? I was lying. I was stealing. I was ripping people off. I was using people. I was letting people use me. I was destroying the body that my God gave me. Universe, whatever you want to call it. I choose to call it God. I was destroying myself from the outside in and from the inside out. It was bad. And this third rehab I went to, I'll never forget, after 5 days of detox, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was down to 90 pounds, skin and bones, abscesses on my body. I had a lump on my head from bacteria that had formed from not washing my hair in a month. I was disgusting. I was a shell of a person. And I was on the road to committing drug suicide. And then they presented me with an opportunity. There's a rehab we can send you to, but it's 7 to 12 months and you really get to work on yourself. And it was all free. It was a state-run place that my mother found. So I surrendered and I'm like, well, I've done almost a week. So why not give it a try? And I had no intention of staying in rehab or going to rehab. I just wanted to clean myself up, put on a little weight so I could go back out on the streets and ruin my life more and get high and do whatever I had to do to get by. I was really just like on survival mode, animalistic, living in the moment, just the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more drugs. But I took this opportunity, and when I went to rehab, oh my God, like it was torture. It made the first 2 rehabs I go to look like a walk in the park. Like this place was just awful. Talk about bullying. We had this thing called Slip Group, and I would have like usually all the women and sometimes the men, the whole group calling me out saying I'm doing this and that because I was there to get better. I wasn't there to hook up where there were no cameras or get a rush from something else. Like I was there to actually work on myself, which meant not dealing with all of that, like not engaging in the gossip, not engaging in the sexual stuff, because people hook up in rehab, guys. People find ways to get high in rehab. It's almost like jail, because I hear prison is like that. Like you can use substances and do bad things in there and not get any of the growth. This last relapse landed me homeless, broke, sleeping at the side of a trap motel with abscesses, a lump on my head, and skin and bones. What lower can I fall besides dying like this and living in eternal hell, or actually seeing what this recovery stuff is about? And I had no one in rehab. Like I had nobody. I couldn't even talk to my family for the first month. So I picked up a Bible and I'm just like, what is this book? I didn't believe in God. If there's a God, why did my brother die next to me? If there's a God, why did my best friends in high school beat me up and call me names? So I'm reading this Bible in treatment, and something just clicked, that maybe I'm blaming God instead of taking ownership for myself and what I'm doing. What's my side of the street in all this? Because when I was out there using, I was lying, I was manipulating, I was stealing, I was abusing myself and others. Was I really a good person? Did I deserve God working for me? So I started thinking about this, and I'm like, maybe God works for us how we work for him. So if I start living a more righteous lifestyle, which is essentially just meaning like working for God, living like as much like God as I can, maybe he's going to work for me. And I'll tell you, it didn't happen overnight. Just like anything that's worth having, you got to work for it. Things that come easy like drugs aren't worth having. They will destroy your life. But the good things, like the good job opportunity, the good relationship, love, trust, those things take time and energy, and you got to work at it. But it's worth it. Because like I said, anything good doesn't come easy. So I worked at this. I worked on developing this part of myself. So then when after about 8 months in treatment, I left, and I was just laying the groundwork for discovering what is this spirituality in me. And I had went on an app, TikTok, right? And I started connecting with other people in recovery. And it was great. Like I was live streaming. I was talking about recovery, positivity. I was making motivational content to connect with other addicts in recovery. And then about a year into it, I got it taken away. Haters reported my account for being under the age of 13, which clearly I'm not. But TikTok didn't give a fuck. They never even looked at my appeal with my government issue ID. So I lost it, guys. This was, in a sense, my community, my people, my reason for living. And I lost my whole page. So I fell into a little hole for a moment, but I fell to my knees. Literally in this room, I fell to my knees. And I said, God, if this is what you want, thy will be done. I surrender, Lord. I fucking surrender to what you want. Not my will, not what I want, not what Natty wants, but what you want for me. Guide me. Show me where you want me next. What's the next season you want me in? Where do you want me to pour my heart and soul and love into? How can I help and inspire other people that are also on this mission like me to get out of pain and suffering and into living a good, righteous life? I surrendered to his will, and I took on new opportunities. And if anything, the pain of losing the community I built in TikTok brought me closer to him. It brought me closer to him, because that's what suffering does. And this is what I'm learning. The story of the Bible, talks about Jesus suffering, right? He's on a cross and he's suffering. Talk about haters. He had the most haters. Everybody hated him. And he suffered for our sins. He literally laid up there almost naked, bled out for days and suffered. So when I thought about losing TikTok or some of the physical and emotional pains I've been through, nothing is as big as that. And I truly believe that when we go through seasons of suffering and seasons of pain and hardships, that's happening as a blessing. We are just programmed from society to think pain and suffering is the devil. That means we're a bad person. But no, think about it. Sports people that train, they go through pain and suffering for a long time. They're working their bodies, but in the end, all of that struggle, all of that suffer, sometimes wins them a gold medal or wins them the Super Bowl or whatever. And then it got me thinking, like maybe if I just switched my perspective on this pain and suffering stuff and I stopped shaming my God for giving me struggles and things to suffer and grow from, I just grow from it. I accept his will be done in my life. And since I've done that, like my life is amazing. I used to go from one abusive, bad relationship to another. The men I got involved with last year all lied to me. Like I said, the one tried to kill me, but they lie. They'll present themselves one way. One guy I was engaged to, and he had a whole family, and he was already married, and he presented himself as this guy that had never been married, never had kids, and that was a lie. I mean, everything's just like lies, 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 lies. And so many people lie today. It's almost like our universal language. Like, what is happening to society, to our world, to people? Like, why do we all think when someone says, how you doing? We have to say, I'm great. How are you? Like, no, I'm not great, or I am great. Like, say who you really are. Say what you are. Stop filtering your truth because you think it's what someone else wants to hear. And I did this my whole life. I was a people pleaser. I thought I had to be this way for you and that way for you and wear this mask. And like that just hurt me and got me deeper in drugs and other addictive behaviors that stole more of my soul each time I engaged in it. I think deep down we're all addicted to something. So whatever it is you run to when you're upset, like look at that. And instead of running to that, run to God. And I know a lot of people have like weird conceptions of God because of religion and there's just all these twisted points of views. I was one of them. I was the biggest atheist out there. I was so anti-God my whole life. And now it's weird. Like all I listen to in the car are these Bible studies on YouTube. And I love it because of how it makes me feel inside. So I truly think if we stop fighting this obsession to fit in and listen to this music and wear this outfit, like just do you, boo, just do you. Because I'm telling you, when you just do you and you focus on having a relationship with your higher power, everything works for you. And sometimes you don't like it. Just like me, I didn't want to give up TikTok. I loved streaming on TikTok. I loved making content on TikTok, but it was God's will. Like I literally had no choice but to surrender to it. And now I love what I do so much more. I miss TikTok, but it was conditioning me. It was getting me ready for something else. I'm just a human, so I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what was on the other side. What was that season preparing me for? But now it makes sense. And I want you to think back in your life, like, when did something really bad that you consider bad happen to you? And did you go through it and grow through it and then come out the other side and say, damn, I'm so glad that happened? Because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be in this position today. You know, I'm old enough now to look back on my life and really look back at all the things I wanted to happen and understand now why they didn't happen. And how really it's all been working for my good. I was just too stubborn at first to understand it and realize it. But it's all working for your good. But at the same time, like if you're not working for the good of God, then why the F should he work for the good of you? And this is really the spiritual awakening that really shook me up. Every day I help. If I see homeless people out there, I'll give them money. I'll hold the door for someone. I'll compliment someone. I won't lie anymore. I don't lie about anything. Even if someone's like, so you feeling good today? And if I don't feel good, I'm like, no, actually, I don't feel good. I don't. You know, because that's a lie. I'm sorry, but little white lies are still lies. They're still lies. And God is truth. God is good. God is the good stuff that we search for in sex, in drugs, in shopping, in gambling. That bliss, that filling our cup up. That's really what God can do for you. And like in the lowest moments of my life, that lowest moment in rehab, when I had nobody, when everybody was turning against me, leaving wasn't an option because I had a warrant out for my arrest. But it still wasn't an option because I knew if I walked out of this rehab, I would probably die, end up in prison, jails, institutions, or death. And I couldn't leave my family having to bury another child because they had to bury my brother at 8 years old, and they're not going to bury me. So even if I'm not doing this for me, I'm going to do it for them. But in the end, once I stuck through the program, I really wanted a good life for myself. I started to be able to look in the mirror again. I started to be able to like myself and say, hey, maybe there's a bigger purpose for me than I couldn't understand. You know, when I was young, I was in music. I was a singer-songwriter. I wanted to make music and it didn't happen. And I thought God was against me, but really he was for me. Because now in this generation, we're seeing a lot of them are drug addicts. A lot of them die. A lot commit suicide or accidental suicide because of drugs and alcohol. And, you know, it's a hard life being in the public eye all the time. So it was almost like God's gift to me to not give me that, to let me become the addict I was. Like I needed to have the pain that was great enough that I never wanted to experience it again. Ever, ever, ever. And only then do we really change and motivate to change, because humans are creatures of comfort. You know, we want DoorDash, we want Amazon to arrive at our door the next day. Like we are so used to having it easy. Go to another country, see how other people live, and you will have gratitude for DoorDash. You will. Because some people don't even have running water. You know, it's awful. We are so comfortable here in the US. And I think a big thing is not having gratitude, because we all want this and we want that, and we want to be rich and we want to be famous and we want to lose 10 pounds overnight and we want to become a millionaire in a day. And like that doesn't happen. You know, like you have to work for things. You have to work for a connection with God. You've got to work for success with anything. The struggle is real and the struggle is beautiful, and it's all about perception. It's all about perception. What you perceive becomes your reality. And if you're up, you know, the law of attraction, The Secret, it's really, I used to think, how is this real? Like if I just sit here and meditate on something, it's not going to come into fruition. No, it's not. But when you plant the seed, I'm telling you, because like I manifested this bedroom, you see? I manifested my bank account. It's real, but it takes time. Praying takes time. You can't just pray one time and then, whoop, it's a magic genie in a bottle and it's going to happen. No. It's like a plant. Plants don't grow overnight. You have to water it every day. You have to give it love, sunlight. Things don't grow in the dark. And giving light to things is embracing God, praying on it, meditating, prayer, whatever you want to call it, because it's all the same thing. And quantum physics states energy can't be created nor destroyed. So when you're sitting here meditating on something, you're shooting an energy, which again is the most powerful form of energy, thought. You're shooting a thought and an energy into the universe, and energy has no choice but to bounce back to you. So what are you meditating on? What thought, which is really, meditating is just a thought, guys. It's just a thought. What thought are you watering every day? Is it the, I'm broke, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'll never have 6 figures, I'll never have the body I want? Well, you know what? The universe says, okay, yeah, if you say you'll never have it, then here you go. You're not going to have it. But when you start to switch your mindset and say, I am powerful, I am strong, I am fit, I am smart, I am successful, and you feel the gratitude of that success and that power. Gratitude is what you need to water your thoughts with. Stop living in fear, because that's the devil. Fear will creep in your mind and say, well, you don't have an education. How can you ever have 6 figures? Well, you don't go to the gym. How can you ever be fit and healthy? Well, your parents abused you. How can you ever think someone would ever love you? That's bullshit. Like, that's the devil. And the devil will come into your head, because everything is first thought. There's love and there's fear. Fear is the devil. Love is God. So when you feel a thought of love and God saying, you can be successful, you can have love, you can be fit and healthy, the devil says, no, you can't. You don't work out. Your parents abused you. You don't have a college education. You've always been broke. You'll always be broke. Then you start to doubt yourself and you stay in this place of fear. You submit yourself to the devil. Instead, you say, devil, you're a liar. You're a liar. I can be fit. I can be healthy. I am healthy. I am successful. I am strong. And you literally feel this. You feel it. And you feel the gratitude of it. And then go about your day and keep coming back to it. Every day, guys, every day. It's hard for me to think back almost 3 years ago to that shell of a human being that would lie and manipulate and just want to run into a bathroom and use and isolate and disappear, because the devil will want you to isolate and disappear from everyone, because that's where he gets his control over you, you see? Because if you're alone, sulking in depression and isolation, you're going to submit to the devil all the time. And you're going to be thinking, I can't have this, I can't have that. And then God will say, okay. So really, when you're thinking thoughts, you're just putting it out into the universe. And whether you're working for the devil or you're working for God, they give you whatever you put out. So stop putting out fear. Stop putting out negativity. And if people are hating on you and judging you, they're just working for the devil. Don't let what they think about you hinder what you can think for yourself. And I was always looking for love, bad relationships, drugs. I was always looking for like this love. And now when people are like, oh, you're single, I'm like, no, I'm dating God. I get hate all the time. I am constantly blocking and deleting comments, and because not everyone's going to like you. It's just not going to happen. And stop caring what anyone thinks about you. Because I'm telling you, no matter what, people are going to find reasons to hate you. And if you're thriving, people are really going to find reasons to hate you. Because they gave up on dreams themselves. They were once dreamers and they gave up on it and surrendered to that fear, that devil voice. They're going to hate you just because you didn't let the devil win. Let him. Pray for him. That's what I do. And I know hopefully one day they'll find their path towards enlightenment, their spiritual awakening. Maybe this is a spiritual awakening for you, because all a spiritual awakening is a shift of perception. A new belief system, a new understanding. It's not a big bright white light. It's not magic. It's just seeing things a little differently. Maybe somebody was kind to you when you didn't deserve it. Maybe somebody said something to you that really got your heart and your soul pumping, like, that could be your spiritual awakening. And that's God saying, I'm here. I'm real. Your body, this earth, this world, the sun doesn't rise and set because of science. There's so many things in science we can't explain, like the placebo effect. It's like something like 80% of people that are given the placebo effect, it works. And what is that? Just believing that it's working makes it work? If that's not a spiritual awakening, I don't know what is. Like, you can think yourself better. You can think yourself rich. You can think yourself successful. You can think yourself healthy. And you can call me BS all you want, but like, I literally did that. And I know people that do it. So, I mean, why not jump on this train and start living a better life just by shifting the way you think? Isn't it worth a shot? Just like when I was in rehab, why not open the Bible and give this thing a shot? Death and incarceration and disease are the only thing waiting for me outside this door. So why not give this God stuff a chance? Why not? What do you got to lose? You got a lot to gain by giving it a chance. You really, really do. So thank you.